Let's handle the browser navigation. Our application works very well with our own links, but when we start hitting the back and forward button, it doesn't work very well. The only thing that changes is the URL itself. The content does not change. This is because we're not handling the pop state event in the history API. So let's fix that. The syntax is window.onPopState and you give it a function. I'm going to do that inside component didMount to make sure that we have DOM to work with. So this is a function, and this function will give me access to the pop state event in here. Let's just console log that event to take a look at it. So now let's refresh, go to one of the contests, and then go back. And you'll see that in the console, I have a pop state event. And what's important about this event is that we have the state here. And the state here is null. Let's do one more navigation. Let's navigate forward. And I have another pop state event. And now the state here does have the current contest ID. So when I'm navigating back and forward here, I have access to this event and I can detect if I'm on a contest ID or I don't have contest ID if I have a null state. However, instead of handling this directly here, let's also extract it into its own handler. So let's call this handler onPopState. And I'm going to make this into a function that receives a handler. And in here, I will just assign the onPopState this handler that I just received. So now back in component didMount, instead of doing this directly on popState, we can call this onPopState handler and pass it the function that we want handle. Let me actually console log event.state because that's what I really care about. So refresh, click. So back to a single contest, I have the current contest ID or I have a null object. So here are all the cases that I need to handle. I either have a current contest ID or I have a null contest ID or I have a null state. So basically, I want to read event.state and making sure that if we get a null, then initialize it with an empty object, and then read the current contest ID, and this would give me either a null or a number. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it inside a set state. Basically, the current contest ID is this guy. So whenever we navigate back to a null contest ID, it will show the list of contests. And navigating forward, when we have a contest ID, it will show the contest page. Now, I don't have to change anything on the list of contests that we have inside the contests object, because that's not going to change between navigation. I'm always reading the current contest information from the list of contest objects. Let's test. So click, and then let's click back. And it showed the list of contests, but I think we have a bug. It should actually show all of them. So let's debug in here. So at first, looking at the React DevTools, we have all 4 contests. And when we click on a contest, it looks like the contest object gets reduced to just one contest. That's actually wrong. It should have all contests here. So let me validate that this is the problem. Again, just one contest. So I think when we click on a contest, on contest click, we are fetching the contest information. Let's take a look at fetch contest. Fetch contest changes the state, and then it fetches a single contest. And when we have the contest information back, it sets the current contest ID, and then it initializes the contests. But this should be contests. So I think this is the problem here. It was just misspelled. This should be contests. Let's test that this solves the issue that we just observed. So contests are 4 objects, and when I click on a contest, they should remain 4 objects, but only the current contest ID change. So I think now this will fix our navigation problem. So I'm going to click on a contest, and then I'm going to click back, and this show me all the contests. And if I click forward, it should show me the contest that I was on. One more time. Let's start from here. Go to contest 1, go back, contest 2, go back. And now, if we go back, we should be on contest 2. Go back one more step, we should be on the list of contests. Go back one more step, we should be on the contest 1. We can also go forward. Very cool. So the navigation seems to be working very well. So we are registering an event for the pop state. And remember, every time we register an event, we have to clean it in component will unmount. So I'm going to actually trigger this problem for you. Let's go back to our timeout trick. And after 5 seconds, let's go back to rendering something else. And this will force the component to be unmounted. So after 5 seconds, my app component is going to go away and a new H2 is going to appear. And this will mean that the component will unmount it. And since I've registered an onPopState event, if I do any history navigation after the component is unmounted, this is going to give me an error. Let's test. Refresh, navigate a little bit, wait for the component to go away after 5 seconds. And now if I go back, I get an error because I have not cleared this event that's registered on the pop state. So the solution for this is simple. InComponent will unmount, register another event on pop state, and this event is just null, which is the default. We don't have anything on pop state. And let's actually test. Navigate a little bit, wait for the component to go clear, and now if I navigate, there's nothing to do because my onPopState handler is null. Looks good, so let's clear this timer test. And I think we're ready to start working with the database now. So in the next chapter, we're going to start with a test script that loads more data into the database and will change our API to read from the database instead of the fake in-memory data structure that we've been using so far.